Okay, it's 6:01 and we have a quorum, so welcome everybody to our library building meeting. I think this is our 106th meeting. Not real confident about that count, but it's pretty close, plus or minus 106. I know Greg Davis had started counting way back at one, so that is for your information. Let's go right to old business approval of minutes. We have minutes
So
from March
moved.
26th. Move for approval by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. I had a couple of minor things. Page 2, the 1A, the second bullet, fiber and code hurdles. That should be a D instead of a T, hurdles, right?
Yep.
And then page 3, first bullet, it says floor mitigation. I think it'd be clearer if that said floor moisture mitigation.
I just copied right off of his.
Yeah, I think for consumption, a better explanation.
The first bullet, right?
First bullet, yeah, floor moisture mitigation. And then the last bullet on page 3, the final bit of that sentence, it says, but they are adding 2 more.
Yep.
I believe that should be, but they are getting quotes for adding 2 more. And that's a clarification, and I think that's everything I had. Anybody else have amendments? Lois, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I just, after the discussion about what should be in minutes last time, I would say that these are very thorough and good minutes, and anybody who read them would actually know what happened at the meeting, and I think that's really important. I'm wondering if it would help Joe if he could just attach the report on the progress as opposed to having to redo the whole thing. That might save you a little time. There are a couple things on page 34, number 34. I think you could clarify.
Page 34, I only have 10 pages.
Right, it seemed like 34. Page 4, number 34. I think this removed is hopeful. I think what you mean is we're hoping that we won't have to pay that, but
Yes,
maybe that could be a little clearer.
that was exactly that was verbatim of what he said off of the.
Clearly, we don't speak as well as we should. And then on page 9, I don't know what does similar driving reasons mean with respect to the comparison of the balance that TSKP and that Colliers are going to receive.
Where are you on the page?
Only we're on page 9.
It was a discussion next to the last bullet at the top. Similar driving reasons on page 9.
The similar reasons driving the extension for both TSKP and Colliers.
I see. Okay, thank you. But I did appreciate the thoroughness of the minutes. I probably would have taken out Mark's and my joke about adding to the sign all the people who've been participating since 2011, but we did say it.
I didn't realize it was a joke, so. I have not been here that long that I can say that it didn't start back then, so.
Anyway, thank you very much for the care you took.
Okay, other comments, corrections to the minutes? Mr. Ike and Mr. Berman, you okay with those?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
I.
Any nays?
I was not present that day.
You're entitled to vote. Any nays? Anybody abstaining?
I didn't have you.
Motion passes. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, me absent.
Yeah.
Oh, I think.
All right, we're going on to new business. I wanted to let everybody know that I did speak since our last meeting with the chair of the Public Arts Commission. They are handling the reuse of the oak tree that was removed from the Prosser property. Public Works has the piece. So the Arts Commission is working first and foremost with the Library Board of Trustees on what's going to happen to that. I understand it's going to be some sort of sculpture. They're headed that direction, but at some near meeting of the future, Bob Ferger, the chair of the Arts Commission, will come and make a presentation to us. So I just want to report that is in process. They do have some funds for outside of the project for that, but we may be asked as part of the project to perhaps do a base for that sculpture. I don't want to get into more details until we know more, but just to alert everybody that is in process. Question, Mr. Berman?
Just a quick comment, Mr. Chairman. Maybe they would consider, because I know it's an awful lot of wood and a big piece of wood, maybe rather than just one sculpture, they might be able to do two out of it, which might be more attractive.
Okay, I will pass
Just a
that
thought.
set along to the Arts Commission. And Elizabeth is the staff liaison to the Arts Commission. So actually, Elizabeth, I'll leave that with you to pass that suggestion along.
Confirmed.
Thank you. Okay, that's what I had. Let's get right to our reports. And Anthony is here, and I know Scott is online from Downs, and I don't have everybody in front of me, so I don't know. And Johnny's here. Okay, thanks. Anthony, you take the
Right,
lead?
yeah, absolutely. Everybody can hopefully see my screen. We'll go down the standard agenda. I'll go through this first general item quick as possible. Interior mock-ups, so we're completing those as we progress further, obviously, with finishes within the space to make sure we're building per the proper details with TSKP. Exterior mock-up details on the roofing sheet metal have been reviewed and established with some minor tweaking to take care of there. Exterior scaffolding stair tower was removed from the site last week. Opened up that south elevation so you could see the beautiful brick and glass and windows going in. Van Zelm continues the review of MEP systems. We have engaged them. We have given them the startup checklist for our mechanical units. We should be starting those units up imminently, barring any issues that Van Zelm sees on the startup checklist. Some of the items aren't fully completed on the startup checklist because the units do have to be started up before we could formally finalize those bulleted listed items. Going down to Prosser, site work contractor, we started final grading at the north entrance of the garage as well as the east elevation sidewalks. We've actually poured about 65 linear feet of sidewalk on that elevation. Site work is continuing to prep towards final grading for the installation of the plaza slab, along with the installation of the trench drain over there. Cast stone and face brick has been completed on the northwest, east, and south elevations. We have the main entrance that remains to be completed, which they're finishing up. Face brick is substantially complete within the interior of the main library. This includes the soldier coursing at all the column openings. We've completed the wash down of the brick inside the building. We're about 90% complete there with that. The stonework has started on the plaza retaining walls. Spray foam installation has been completed at the garage level, as well as the intumescent paint. The garage ramp and guardrail system has been installed. The porch guardrail system, if you drove past this afternoon, has been installed now that all that brickwork is down and all the conventional scaffolding is out of the way. Interior taping of drywall joints is 100% complete on the second level and about 99% complete on the main level. So we could close this item out. Anything that needs to get taped in or patched is a miss and will need to be taken care of if we need to get back into the walls for whatever reason. Second level, main level priming paint has about 80% complete with areas such as the community room that still need to be completed. Bathroom wall tiles, floor tiles all have been installed throughout the building. Floor mitigation, moisture mitigation, and finished flooring have been installed on the second level. Floor protection has been applied where we have the finished flooring down. Elevator cabin finishes are being completed. Fire protection continues with adjustments as we put up ceiling grid and ceiling tile. So there's going to be minor tweaks there. Plumbing fixtures have all been installed in the required bathrooms. Mechanical piping is continuing to be completed. Ductwork, same thing there. Final tie-ins are being completed. Final ductwork at the outdoor mechanical spaces is complete, allowing for the exterior grade installation to keep continuing. RTUs, like I said before, are ready for startup. We're waiting on confirmation from Van Zelm, the subcontractor, and RZ. Same thing goes with the boilers and the hot water tanks with the final piping tie-ins. HVAC controls and final tie-ins are continuing along with the BMS system requirements. We're about 85% with all controls work at this time. Electrical light fixtures and devices are being installed throughout the space on walls and within ceilings. Fire alarm comm systems installed are ongoing. Crown Castle did show up to the site the other day for a preliminary walkthrough to get their all the ducks in a row. So hopefully within the next week or two, we should see some progress with them and their work being completed. So again, thank you, Joe, Chris, everybody who had their help in there pushing this along. I really appreciate it. Millwork deliveries are continuing, installations on the second level, upper and lower cabinets. Main level deliveries are continuing as well. Custom ceilings are being installed on the second level in high bay areas. The 3-inch glue lamp panels have all been delivered. We have our engineering complete. We should be starting that work shortly, but where we don't need those structural components, we have an in-place mock-up of a glue lamp trim panel that needs to be reviewed by TSKP. Aluminum at the upper level windows on the north elevation, west elevation have all been installed along with the glass. Aluminum interior glass walls and doors have been installed on the second level and main level throughout. Aluminum frames have started installations, as you can see on the south elevation where we just completed the brick. I did get word that within a week we should have all the fire rated frames here that goes up stairwell 1 and down in the garage area. Aluminum frames, like I said, and glass have started at that south elevation. As you can see, there's probably about 3 or 4 windows that have frames in and glass in already. Acoustical ceiling grid and tiles are in progress throughout the whole entire space. Linear wood ceiling frames have also started. Acoustical cloud ceilings were laid out last week. We are in there painting the cloud area blue. Acoustical ceiling grid installations have all been completed within the garage. We started installing light fixtures and anywhere we need electrical devices for pad cuts and sprinkler cuts has started down there. And that takes us through the process site. Anybody have any questions?
Questions for Anthony? I can't see you, so just speak up if you have them. All right, Anthony, please continue.
All right, Riley Pedestrian Bridge, as you know, we've set in place. We're finalizing the electrical conduits. Final site work preparations are still continuing. The swales and gratings are almost completed. Light pole bases and light poles are up and hung. Current concrete work at the bridge ramp has been completed. We are actually starting the steel work tomorrow. So we're eager to get that going and completed. Once that's done, we'll get the stairs going and the ramp done, formed and poured. That really takes us through Riley. Anybody have any questions?
Questions? Joe?
So there's a few are remaining to be installed with the light poles. So
Yeah,
that's-
there's one left. Good catch, Joe. All righty. Moving down the agenda, item B, we have requisitions and PCOs. First and foremost, we have submitted our March 2025 requisition. We're looking for approval from the committee tonight in the amount of $1,282,577.80.
So moved.
We have a motion for approval. Mr. Reich, seconded by Mr. Berman. Thank you very much. Questions? Discussion? Again, I can't see everybody if you do have one. Okay, I guess we're good. All right.
I'll let you know if anybody.
All in favor of approving application number 21 in the amount of $1,282,577.80, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. Next, Anthony.
Yep, going down the list here is our GMP, our CO number 12, our PCCO number 12. This was a combination of all the PCOs that were approved at the last committee meeting. This is the summary change order that includes all of those in the amount of $7,960 is what we're looking for committee approval on.
So moved.
Move for approval by Mr. Ike,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Berman. So this is the combination of PCO 64, 73, 74, and 75, all previously approved. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving PCCO number 12 in the amount of $7,960, please say aye.
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 Nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, going down the
Next.
list, PCOs, pending PCOs, budget PCOs, PCO 34, we're still continuing to track. Now that we're probably a few weeks away from paving, Jason and the DOT inspectors are trying to make this 61,000 that we've been tracking honestly for quite some time now, since last fall, to make it go away in its entirety, and I think we're close. PCO 47, column line 4 modifications, that was sent over to TSKP. We are hashing out some details with our structural steel subcontractor. This work was done on T&M. We want to just have a couple questions and clarifications made on the actual work that took place for that work. PCO 71 is a type 3 soils upcharge. That $9,388 that I'm showing is going to be significantly reduced. Talking with Rock from SLR and Manafort, the details weren't super clear on the extent of that soil. But with our meeting and conversation that we had, the reduction in scope and the amount needed is going to be less than what that $9,388 includes. So I'm getting that revised. Hopefully we could bring it to formal approval for next committee meeting. PCO 79 showing a budget here. This is the auto door operators at 114B and 206. Right now I'm showing a $21,000, almost $22,000 budget in there for this work to be completed. PCO 85, this is a sill flashing at the exposed exterior columns with the curtain wall. There was a detail with a better solution that TSKP came up with one, I believe, one monolithic piece that works. So what we're going to do with our glass and glazer who owns this work is we're going to put a mock-up in the field for TSKP to look at. But we do believe Jeff's conversation with Accurate that this is a enhancement to the project for this type of work for the amount that was provided. Next section, official PCOs that we are looking for committee approval and motion on tonight is PCO 59, which is the bridge sonotube subgrade enhancement per Max Welty, who is a geotechnical engineer. We had to do some enhancement to the subgrade work going underneath the bridge sonotubes through Manafort, which was tracked on time and material tickets. We didn't really know how deep we would need to go. And for a fair number and fair price, we wanted to track it on T&M to get to that suitable soil condition, which was pretty deep. What they did is they excavated down, removed the soil, brought in, I think it was 3,000 or 4,000 PSI concrete, filled it up 10 feet. And now the sonotubes are sitting on something that's a lot better structurally for the integrity of this area. So this amount we're looking for approval on is $31,160.
So moved.
Move for approval by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions? Patrick?
Thank you. So Anthony, was this number higher or lower than what we budgeted for this? I think it was higher.
Can't hear the question.
This number,
Phone up.
Sorry, Lois, I didn't have the mic in front of me. I was
Thank
just
you.
asking Anthony if this budget number was higher or lower than the
I
original.
was
thought it was
projecting,
higher.
I was projecting lower.
Okay.
Originally, we had, I think, 17 or 18,000 for quite some time, and that was a rough order of magnitude cost that we got from Manafort at a
Mhm.
certain depth. But to the existing conditions, we had to dig deeper, more soils, so it was a little bit longer.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Mark, I have a question.
Go ahead, Lois.
It seems that every time we dig, we find that the soil is not substantial or stable. Are we expecting other problems from this situation?
I would hazard to say that we're not digging anymore.
We're out of the ground. We're done. We're done.
There
So,
has to be a lesson there somewhere
Well,
about,
I absolutely, and in retrospect, it looks like we should have taken more borings on the Riley site.
correct.
You know, I believe we had one.
I think
Two.
two at like total opposite ends of the actual property.
Yeah, I want to say there was like 15 borings at the Prosser site. There was a lot more concern with what was underground there and the history of the gas station that used to be there and all that stuff.
And for the aggregate piers, Scott, too, that all those borings.
Well, that's what
needed
led
be
to
done.
it, with all
Yeah,
those borings.
correct.
You know, so there was a lot of information that was taken there, but yeah, there wasn't as much at the lumberyard.
Yeah, it wouldn't have removed the need to do all this work, but it would have
No.
removed the surprise about it.
Right.
Correct.
Thanks, Lois. Other questions? Okay, all in favor of PCO number 59 in the amount of $31,160, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. Next.
All right, this PCO 72 is for a guardrail railing system at stair one. During the VE process, we removed a second width of ground face block where a wall handrail was supposed to go, but because that ground face block was removed, this was missed by our Miss Metal subcontractor during the VE process. We had to put and establish a guardrail system with a handrail back. This was in the amount of $6,772. And if everybody has a copy of the PCO, you could see the picture of what we're talking about here.
So moved.
Move for approval by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Thank you. Questions? Mr. Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's actually just a comment that anybody who's used that stairwell number one, when you get up there, you would see very clearly that there's a gap. And that gap, if this isn't done, would be dangerous. And that stairwell couldn't be used then. So there's no option.
Thank you, Bob. Any other questions, comments? All right, all in favor of PCO number 72 in the amount of $6,772, please say aye.
aye,
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, and the last one is PCO number 78, which is emergency lighting at the bridge and the plaza. Dwight, our building inspector, came through with his team, wanted a emergency lighting backup system for the bridge area as well as the plaza. With that being said, TSKP and RZ put together a proposal request to add inverters to these two locations in the amount. Our electrician, who's the only scope of work affected by this, provided a cost in the amount of $5,283 to make sure that we are meeting code and the building requirements for when we do turn this building over and there is a loss of power, that the inverters kick on and that these lights will illuminate.
So moved.
Move for approval by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Thank you. Questions? All right, all in favor of PCO number 78 in the amount of $5,283, please say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Aye.
Nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Sorry, Clark, you
I just
have a
noticed
comment?
Custom Electric's, quote, lump sum credit.
Yeah, that was a typo on their end.
All right, thank you for that. Motion passes. And Oh, you got
Pictures. We have pictures.
Okay,
We
yeah,
have
that's our
pictures.
reward.
Right, that's it for the painfully listen to me speak for the last half hour, so we'll get some photos going.
Over.
You're right. All right, we have curbs and grading like I talked about on the driveway on the north side of the building heading into the north end of the garage. We're ready to go. Hopefully we get some asphalt down and that paved out, hopefully within the next couple weeks here. Curtain wall installation on the north elevation, that final corner there going in and being completed as we speak. This is the children's area. We are painting this area blue, and then we are going to put up the cloud ceiling installations once that's all said and done. It's not a final product. There is a lighter blue that is going to be applied here. It's gonna look fantastic when it's all done. I'm excited actually to see that when we're done. You have the bump out on the west elevation, looking out at the bridge in our field office to the Riley lot. Bathroom partitions are installed in the bathrooms. I believe that is a mirror there as well. As you can see, the sinks in, the urinals in, and the toilets are in. Floor is protected, that beautiful tiles protected and done. This is the ceiling and lighting progress at the second level, looking out towards the main entrance of the building. As you can see, wood ceiling panels and trim are up, the glue lamps in, light fixtures are installed, and we're moving along.
Before you go past this one, I just want to make a comment. When you actually walk in and you look at that, it looks much better than the picture.
The pictures don't do it justice.
Does not do it justice in the slightest. It's a
Agreed.
fantastic site.
All right, going down, you have fin tube radiation, the heating being installed on the north side wall on the second floor. You could see here the stone wall progress at the west end of the plaza. Now that plaza retaining wall is starting to take shape and shed some light on the finishes there, which is fantastic. It looks another one that the pictures don't do it justice. You could see here the carpet installation on the second level. The first barrier protection has been installed, millwork in. As you can see here, light fixtures are in, devices in the ceiling pads are down. Once we're done there, we'll start padding out the ceilings. But you can see carpets in, counters are in, millwork's up, lights on, and that's it.
All right,
Anybody have
final
any
questions
questions?
for Anthony and Downs? Patrick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Anthony, the completion, the substantial completion date, what are we up to now?
Right now, we're June 6th. I will be sending a monthly report out to everybody tomorrow morning first thing, but right now, we're still maintaining June 6th. That's with some activities that will be taking place around the site. But that's not gonna deviate the furniture, the FF&E that's coming in on the 21st.
Of
So,
May.
of May,
Okay.
correct.
And where will we be able to store that in the
Yes,
library?
yeah, we'll make provisions. So for us, our critical item is getting ceilings in and finished floor down and spaces opened up. The reason why that bumped out to June 6th is we might be working on some landscaping on the outside of the building or
Okay.
finishing the community room that has no FF&E other than chairs, and we're gonna utilize a closet in there that's have,
Right.
those finishes kind of bump down the line a little bit, but it has no effect on the FF&E delivery.
Okay, so you don't think that date's gonna change again, do you?
No,
Okay. Last question, is the water turned on?
water's on, the sinks, the toilets flush, the sinks work,
Oh.
and it drains out the building. No leaks.
No, nothing's leaking. Okay, and the issue with the patio, that's all been resolved as far as the
Well,
stairs?
I could bring it up, I had a conversation with Mark a little bit earlier. So right now, we have a rough order of magnitude price from our masonry contractor of $25,000 to put pavers down for the entire patio at the plaza. So remove the concrete base contract work at this point in time and replace it with pavers, with stone pavers. So I think that was a good price because at that price point, you have $25,000 to do the work, but a potential credit coming back from Manafort to offset that $25,000 in an enhancement to that plaza area, which would be fantastic. As for the stairs, that's a whole nother different ball game in the same area. We got a formal report from TSKP, a rejection letter, where we have to rip out those stairs again. So right now, our team, TSKP, are thinking of ways to leave those stairs in place and put a veneer stone on top of that. So you'll have pavers at the plaza and then a stone tile or a stone veneer on top of the treads and risers at the plaza steps, which would be another enhancement. So we're digesting that. We're going through it, but it's, you know, it's gotta happen soon. We gotta make some movement on here because of schedule.
Yeah.
But again, if we're working and FF&E goes in, we're outside, right? They still have access to the ramp to the right-hand side. They have the elevator, they have the ramps, they have other entrances up the bridge if they need it. But, you know, we're kind of out of the way.
So I'm sure we'll be discussing the steps, the plaza at a future meeting. We don't have any information now to make any decisions, other than I see Jeff shaking his head about a stone on the steps. But all that would be coordinated with TSKP. So whatever we'd be looking at would be endorsed by.
Absolutely. And, you know, at the end
Team.
at the end of the day too, you know, it was brought up by, you know, Bob Sessions, our general superintendent, is if we do put a stone veneer on the treads and risers of these stairs, let's say one does pop and it cracks or something happens, you could easily replace it, remove it. Now, if the concrete starts deteriorating in, you know, 10 years from now, that's a lot more invasive work to do a repair on that than it would be to pop a couple stones off and replace them that are cracking or popping off. So, you know, that's just something to think about as well.
Mark, excuse me, but
Go ahead, Lois.
I'm unaware of what this issue is.
Well, and we all are to the fullest extent. And so it's kind of unfortunate we're hearing only a little bit and piece of this. We know, as Anthony said, the front monumental steps outside the main entrance of the library have been built and rejected by the architect. So Downs is in the process of figuring out what's next.
They weren't to our quality standards either, not just TSKP. So we just want to put that out there that we weren't happy with the delivery that we got. They already ripped them out one time. Now they're potentially ripping out for a second time. But for the sake of schedule and maybe a better enhancement to the project is using a stone veneer on top of those.
Well, nothing's been decided about the corrective action, replacement with anything else with, you know, so that's all in process. And
But
so
it
there's
sounds
nothing
like the issue is visual as opposed to safety or anything else.
No, it was, some of the poor workmanship would lead to safety issues as well. So it's not just an aesthetic.
There's a back pitch
issue.
on some of the steps, ponding water, just, and then other visuals and aesthetics that just don't sit right with anybody.
Thank you.
Clark. Oh,
Thank you for
get your
illuminating.
microphone there.
Thank you for explaining that more. So I'd say you're super watching this work. This happened in spite of that?
Yeah, I mean, our superintendent is, you know, we've pretty done some good due diligence here on working with our concrete subcontractor and making sure they're getting the job done right. But, you know, he can't go out there and babysit them, you know, 24/7. He's got other, you know, divisions of construction taking place throughout the day where, you know, if he leaves for a minute or two and, you know, he's supervising meetings, you know, there's a lot going on. He's not just gonna stand there and babysit them. They gotta have some quality to their workmanship and their manpower.
Is this acronym?
Yes, it is.
And so did they pay for the previous replacement of the stair?
Yes, on their own dime. I do have a back charge pending for the removal and demolition of the first failed pour that is going out out of their contract and getting added to Manafort for helping them with the removal.
You're holding enough money on them that we are covered
Yes, we are. I want to make sure that's been honestly in back of my mind since back in October. So we're prepared for the worst.
Thank you.
All right, other questions for Anthony? All right, thank you, Anthony, Scott, Johnny. Let's move on to Glenn at Public Works.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I don't have much to report on McMahon at this committee meeting. I did meet with Jeff Brown last week. He did some final field measurements for the canopies. on either side of McMahon. Those final shop drawings with all his notes were submitted to Structures Unlimited. We did cut a purchase order for Structures Unlimited, and our purchasing manager had drafted an agreement between the town of Bloomfield and Structures Unlimited. I know that draft came back today. It was signed. There was a couple comments that need to go to our town attorney. Once that contract is executed by our town manager, that starts the clock for fabrication, once they have it in hand. Fabrication on those canopies is about 16 weeks. So if all goes well, I'm looking at scheduling a potential 1-week shutdown at McMahon in mid-August. Other than that, I did receive the specifications for the electronic door fix to one of the ADA restrooms at McMahon. It's going to match the same hardware being installed in room 206 or restroom 206 at Prosser. So I can gladly go ahead and start pricing that out. Other than that, the EV charging stations, all 4 charging ports were brought online earlier in the week. We did verify that all the charges, revenue, and expense accounts were set up through the town. They're operating and functioning. So we're excited to have that feature live, up and running at the branch library. Other than that, I believe I saw one invoice floating around from TSKP Studios for continued services on the canopies and gardens.
You wanna bring that up now, or you wanna bring that up during the,
It's just the one. I mean, we could bring it up now.
Sure. That is in our package. That's invoice 220103-29 in the amount of $5,236.
So moved.
bring it up or no?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Ike and seconded by Jesse. Thank you. Joe's bringing it up on the screen. Yeah, that's the line item for additional services regarding the canopies and the garden. That is it. If you slide that down a little bit, you'll see that the bottom line there is where it's billed against the final item there, 12.5% of that item. Questions? All right, all in favor of approving TSKP invoice in the amount of $5,236, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. All right.
All
Glenn, are
right.
you gonna put this in, or am I gonna put this in?
I'll take care of it, Joe.
Okay.
And other than that, there's no changes to the renovation budget since our last meeting. We still have the $150,000 line item for the exterior renovation. Along with our contingencies, we have a total of $214,795 available for the exterior renovation. And that's all I have this evening.
All right, questions for Glenn? Mr. Berman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Glenn, isn't there a bill from CDW?
If that would fall under technology, perhaps Chris Solowak would review that.
CD is coming. with-
Yeah, let's let Chris,
That's 7 of them to go through for that.
Okay.
Do we want to do that now, Joe, or wait till the rest of them?
no, let's wait till you give us all of your stuff there,
That's
Chris.
McMahon, isn't it? This is McMahon, isn't it?
Well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, but it is, but it.
Let's let Chris get to it.
That's fine.
Other questions for Glenn? All right, thank you, Glenn. Let's move on to our design team, and we've got Jeff from TSKP with us.
Thanks, Mark.
When you're all set there as part of this, we're gonna tag right on to technology and have Chris report to us.
Okay. So it was said earlier, I think Anthony brought it up, I issued the plaza stair and slab, the upper slab rejection report on April 3rd. Also, on that same day, I issued a site observations report number 11. Landscape architect, we issued a site visit report from them on April 4th. Submittal review and RFI review is still ongoing with downs as they still come in. The Joseph M. Suggs reading room text and plaque is in process. And I should have something soon to just send from Mark to look at and give me some feedback on it. And that's it for Prosser. Should I jump into McMahon?
You know, while we're on Prosser, there are two proposals in your package that, my fault, they didn't go out to everybody until today, from
yeah.
TSKP. One is for, dated March 25th, and as, Jeff just said, they are working on, in good faith, they're working on the Suggs tribute items, the plaque, and sign for the main room. And so they are asking for a fee of $3,000, lump sum fee for that, which I would recommend approval on. Questions?
moved.
Moved by Mr. Berman,
Second.
second by Mr. Ike. Thank you. Questions on that?
You don't want me to bring it up?
It's in everybody's packet.
Okay.
It's pretty straightforward. Any questions? All right, all in favor of TSKP studio fee in the amount of $3,000 related to the Suggs signage, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. And the other one is for extended construction administration services. It's dated March 27th. Joe and I have been negotiating that with TSKP for quite some time. And we have successfully reached an agreement of $12,000 per month.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike.
Second.
Seconded by Jesse. Thank you very much. This does list an additional 5 months. I suppose we probably will be going that long. There's yet to see. But again, Joe and I recommend for approval based on some friendly negotiations with TSKP. Healthy negotiations. How about that?
Better word.
Questions? Clark?
So I'm sorry, what months does this cover? What did the extension cover?
I believe it starts with the month of March.
You are correct. Starts March.
March, April, May, June. This would carry us all the way through July,
If necessary.
if necessary. Other questions? All right, all in favor of approving TSKP Studio proposal for $12,000 a month for additional CA services, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. All right, we thank you. We thank TSKP for negotiating. All right, so that's it for Prosser. Now I'll turn it back to Jeff for McMahon.
McMahon, there's always going to be two components when I give you guys an update. The first, we'll start with the canopies. As Glenn said, I just wanted to make sure I triple checked everything on both sides, and I'm pretty confident there was a few dimensional things I caught just to make sure that when that canopy comes that we have no issues. So I felt comfortable enough, and I checked the shop drawings or the foundation drawings that our structural engineer did, and everything lines up, everything matches. So I sent those along as well with my comments on the shop drawings and my as-built file that I did after I met with Glenn, and he helped me, double check the measurements and stuff, everything. So never hurts to just measure 5 times and cut once. That's what I've always learned. So That's out the door. So I think, Glenn, you can probably start proceeding with the foundations whenever you think, schedule-wise, you can do that. Let's see, the canopies, things that I caught were the relationship of existing soffits to the edge of the canopy. I made sure that there was a proper slope in the valley, 8th and 12th, to make sure that the light fixtures, the holes that they're going to do in the shop are going to match the light fixtures that we're going to have uplighting the entire canopy. So I located all this for them, and now I'm going to be beginning to design the rain chain, downspout leader, scupper connection to the rain garden. So yesterday I had a meeting with Richter Segan and our civil engineer, Rock Emond, about strategy of, the extent of the rain garden, how it's going to connect to the rain chain, what the makeup of this thing is. So I think they have some good direction on that. So looking forward to getting some input from them. Rock also made a suggestion that as soon as we get stuff ready to potentially show, he's considering going in and meeting with some people in the town, planning zoning, just to make sure that they're on board with us as far as stormwater retainage, which I think we're going to be better than what's existing there. But I'm waiting for Richter Segan to finalize the 488 parking spots that was mentioned at the meeting, and a few other things that we got to make sure we clarify. They have positioned from my Revit file the night book depository, so we have a good idea of where that's going to go relative to the connection to the sidewalk running along the building. So I think the canopies are moving forward. There's a few pieces I got left to detail and design. The children's garden, working drawings in progress. The landscape architects and civil engineers are incorporating 488 spots, as I told you. And they're actually incorporating the fencing that was brought up at the last meeting we had with everybody. Let's see. They're defining the extent of the rain gardens that I said. We noticed when I was there with Glenn that there was some fiber junction box access patches on the east side. So I asked Jeff to get out there and just confirm that that's going to work. It looks like it's going to work with the existing rain garden or the new rain garden we want to put over there. But we just got to clarify things like I want to make sure that the depth is going to be okay and that we're not sort of getting in the way of those things. Unfortunately, those things were added before we could fully, get this whole canopy and rain garden implemented, but we'll work around it. We'll get the rain gardens in there. And I think that's about it with the gardens. I'll be touching base weekly with everybody on my team to make sure that there's progress on getting these drawings out, because I know Glenn is kind of anxious to get the parking going. So I've sort of relayed that to them. I know that historically we always want to get the whole package out together so that we don't miss anything. So I've kind of put pressure on them to make sure we get that. And as soon as they can get that parking area flushed out, I want to send it to Glenn and get his input. Other than that, I think it's moving forward. It's going to look nice.
Okay, questions for Jeff? Mr. Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know if this is for Jeff, Glenn, Chris, or a combination of the bulk and material pickup unit that was bought for McMahon. Has that been decided where that's going? The location of it is
Yes.
going to be? And that is where?
By the new window that was put in on the west side.
Okay.
There's a hose bib there, and it's gonna be just after the hose bib.
Thank you.
So basically there'll be the window, hose bib, book, night, drop depository, rain garden, canopy.
Okay, Patrick.
Okay, so with that though, Jeff, don't we need more sidewalk there? I think that part of, maybe Glen's a question for Glenn. I mean, to get to that locker unit, that right now,
Yeah, we're
that,
extending this, there's a sidewalk that's already there.
yeah,
And I think that's gonna be redone. I think the whole entryways are gonna be redone. So I have to figure out that whole edge sidewalk that's there now with the bike rack that's there. We're just gonna spur off of that directly up to it. it's gonna be up against the wall, it's gonna be facing the parking lot, so we'll just have a little, what is it, about a 6 or 8 foot long piece of sidewalk off of that sidewalk goes directly up to the book depository.
Right, yeah, okay, because right now it's just all dirt around the building from the landscape removal.
That's all gonna be, the whole perimeter of the building is gonna have new landscaping.
Yeah,
But we had to locate that first to find, because I wanted to put that in a spot that wasn't too close to the window, but
mhm.
yet gave us more rain garden. So it was kind of a give and take, and I'm always for more rain garden, so I think we worked out the best position for it. Plus, it has to have some visibility from the road and from the parking, so.
Okay.
Other questions for Jeff? Clark?
I don't know who this is for, but Jeff mentioned bringing this design to town agencies or boards or whatever. And I just worry about a risk of not being approved. And you've got everything in
Well, this is the
writing.
thing, what we're doing is trying to go through with an administrative review. So Rock's suggestion, because he knows the town quite well, that he actually brought it up, and I'm not gonna do anything until I talk to Mark and everybody. But he was suggesting that when we get a plan, that it might be in everybody's interest to show them earlier than later and get them to have buy-in. And I think it's a healthy way to do things, so that we can just say that we're looking for administrative review, and he can talk about his stormwater calculations and how it's a betterment. And then we can get them excited about all the other enhancements and walk out of there hopefully with their support.
You understood my concern was going ahead with it and then getting approvals after seems a little bit out of line, but what's that?
Just going ahead with the plan.
Yeah, I know, but if it's not approved, what we're
I
doing.
think, I think the risk there is absolutely minimal. I did alert our town planner that we were making changes to the children's garden. And that, it will be presented to him in the planning department at some point. And he was pretty sure at this point it would be a staff review only. I felt pretty confident about that. Obviously, there's no guarantee, but I think it's all headed in the right direction. I don't think we need to be concerned about it was previously approved, as a children's garden. So hopefully it is just a staff review. Other questions for Jeff? All right, I want to return, to Prosser, because I did include in your packet the an updated draft of the building plaque, which got distributed at our last meeting. I did get some comments from Lois and Ava, but my goal is to release this to Jeff, so he can have his way with it aesthetically, any changes that he might recommend, and then it would come back to us for final approval. So if anybody does have any further, comments at this point, we'll get another bite at it, after Jeff has it, but I wanted to just get it out to Jeff and let him work on it. Lois?
Mark, I was curious to know how you do a plaque in color. Because I noticed that the logo for the public library is on one side in color, the other side is the town logo. Is that something that can be done easily?
Well, it can be depending on the media that's, that this is made from, but that's where I'm gonna rely on Jeff, and TSKP as to whether, what they recommend there, whether it be in color, not in color, depending on the materials, because it will be outdoors, near the main entrance. So, I'm just kind of waiting back to hear what they recommend there. But depending on how it's done.
And we assume it's going to be good for years and years and years, right?
Yes, I mean, it's something that, is meant to stand up to the weather, so.
Thank
Like all
you.
the other outdoor building plaques, I don't know if, you can see one at Town Hall when you walk in. All right, so, I don't think we need a vote on that. I just want to, again, if you have other comments, please, email me, And in the meantime, we'll let Jeff have his way with it. Okay. All right. So let's go, let's talk technology with Chris.
All right, Joe, I'm gonna share my screen.
I've got all the, I've got them all ready if you don't.
You have the budget, right?
Oh, the budget? No, I've got the CDW, I thought that's what you were talking.
Oh, no, I wanted to go over the budget
All right.
and that. stuff,
All
so-
yours, buddy. All
All right.
yours.
Thank you. Oop, no, not that. All right, so just want to go over couple of key technology points tonight. Things we are hoping maybe the committee could move forward tonight. This is the first time we've been working because of the way the project is kind of morphed. I've been working on a lot of these pieces individually, so I decided to bring it all together into one document. There's basically three big technology components to the project. The first is the public bid package that the D'Agostino and Associates helped the library put together. That was passed by the building committee in August of 2024. That accounts for $370,683.90. This package is basically our entire technology infrastructure in the buildings, the main part of everything. It's a little lower than the number you passed because of some slight changes in the package, taking out some licenses and things of that nature. This package, really needs to get out as soon as possible. According to Joe Maraca, it is in attorney review at the moment. So what we're going to be asking this evening is to move it forward upon attorney review, so Joe can post it for public bid. So that's one of the first things we're going to look at. I just wanted to just kind of review it. How that fits together with the rest of it, the end user technology for Prosser, that's something that I'll be procuring through our vendors like Dell, CDWG, and CT Communications. This is all the computers, the printers, the peripherals that we had planned with the TSKP floor plan, right? Everything here is pretty much represented in the floor plan. This cost $89,152 for everything. And you can see the Dell Optiplex computers, the tech training desktop PCs, which are going to be a little bit more robust, and printers and things of that nature. The other part of and I didn't include it here because you've all seen it a few times now, the other part of it is the McMahon technology budget. That is essentially finished. We have completed the purchasing for McMahon. I'm just waiting on some stray items from CWG. We'll approve almost the rest of it all tonight, the invoices anyway. The actual spent at McMahon was $99,554.73 out of a $112,766 estimate. That brings everything to $559,390.63 for both buildings. What we'd also like to do tonight is hoping we can move forward with the approval to start purchasing this end user technology package. It's time sensitive, but not as time sensitive as the bid, but I would like to start getting hard quotes in hand and then actually purchasing the equipment as soon as possible, and partially because of the instability right now economically. I just want to get as much as I can now. So those are the main things we're hoping the committee can consider and move forward. The bid package being far and away the most important. The only changes in the package since you saw it in August are we took out licensing for the wireless access points and the Sensource, and we took out the Sensource licenses are still in there, but we won't pay for them through the committee funds. And the other big thing, or minor thing, honestly, was we're asking the vendor to install the access points. And originally, the town was going to install it, but after talking to the IT department, that was their preference. So those are the only real changes to the package. if we could move that forward, that would be great.
So moved.
All right, so we have a motion. Let's be clear about this, break this down. We have a motion to, I'm gonna put words in your mouth there, Mr. Ike. Motion to approve going out to bid on the public bid package portion of technology upon approval of the town attorney, review of the documents. The bid estimate right now is at approximately $370,000. You okay with that, Mr. Ike, as I
Yes,
summarized it?
sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Patrick. Okay, discussion? Mr. Berman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I recognize that 370,000 really only leaves you $28,000. What was originally budgeted for processor technology, where you're coming in at 89,152, which is roughly $68,000 over budget.
Inclusive of the end user things.
Right. Because that's all, the 398,000 includes all of it. It's not just a piece of it. It's not just the public portion of it. It's all the technology. And I'm concerned that that's a, I mean, I can see where the computers, et cetera, are probably going to come in maybe $1,000 or $2,000 below what you've got there at the most. So I don't know where the other $60,000 is going to come in. My concern is the fact that it's that much over budget.
So let's break this down again. So we're looking at going out to bid for a $370,000 package. We certainly have the ability, once bids come in, to cherry pick if we did need to reduce some of that for some reason. But in the meantime, Chris, you will be looking to actually purchase things on your end user list before we have all the bids in hand. Is that true? On the $370,000 piece?
I would prefer to do that just because we know the bids, and we're probably looking at what, mid-May, May before we start to really review that. I would prefer that, or at least the biggest pieces like the Dell computers. That would be essential to get, because that's, the essential equipment that everyone needs. So that would be my preference. I mean, I can wait a little bit, but because it's not as time sensitive as the bid.
Are you talking about splitting up and purchasing those items from the 370 RFP from D'Agostino?
No, I'm talking about the end user. I could wait a little bit if we needed to. The bid package is the most important.
Okay.
Joe, do you have any idea when we'd be seeing those numbers on this bid package that this motion is about?
From D'Agostino?
Yeah, the 370,000.
After I get it back from the attorney, few days to post it, and you're looking at minimum of 21-day response.
Okay.
We're in the middle of May.
And Chris, what's your timing on starting to spend money on the end user pieces,
Well,
ideally?
I obviously want as much in hand in June as possible, because that's when I'll be looking to start installing some of it.
Right.
So that would, I mean, most of the stuff does not take long to come. It obviously will arrive usually within a week or two. So I would love to start purchasing it in early to mid-May at the latest.
So we're close to the time we'll have our bid back. I mean, if we're looking 4 weeks to have bid numbers back, at that point, you would have hard numbers on all the end user things, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So.
I just don't want to reach out too early because then, you know, the quotes they'll expire. So I'll probably reach out within a couple weeks from now.
Okay, so it sounds like we should have our bid back on the major package. You'll have all the costs on the end user things, and we can make some informed decision about how deeply we choose to go into contingency to buy all the end user equipment at that point. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Patrick's nodding his head.
it does.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, yeah,
Uh,
it's
yeah.
all.
Joe's got his hand up. Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, Elizabeth.
Yes, I just wanted to also add to this conversation the potential impact from the tariffs and just my concern that this is taking a long time to go through the attorney review, and if there's any way we can push that along with the town attorney so that we could hit go as soon as possible.
Yeah, thank you. I know Joe's doing everything he can.
And I'm supposed to get it back this week.
Valid point. All right, so any other questions on the motion? Patrick?
Chris, just one more question. I mean, do you have sort of a contingency list for if there was something that you could live without, that you know what that is, or could get later? You know, is there like a B list that?
There really isn't at this point.
Okay, so are you?
Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, we're saying all this stuff is really critical for day one. In other words, in order to run the library the way it should be run, these items are needed.
Yes. Yeah. I would.
Okay.
We've trimmed where we could. We've bought things ahead where we could, but
Right.
this is where we're left with the critical items to deliver what we said we'd deliver.
What you do. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Thank you.
I mean, you know, at this point, it seems reasonable to me that, you know, we'll have contingency money to purchase everything we need.
And we don't know what the bid will come in.
And right, we still have yet to see where the bids come in. All right, other questions on the motion? Again, I can't see everybody.
Mark, my understanding is that the motion at present is just for the public bid package approval.
That's
Is that-
correct. That's
Thank
correct.
you.
Any other questions? All right, then all in favor of going out with the public bid package once we have town attorney approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining?
I abstain.
We have one abstaining. Thank you. Motion passes. All right, thank you for that.
Give them my reason for abstention.
Go ahead, Mr. Berman.
Very simply that I don't like doing things piecemeal when we're looking at a total number. And I just don't like I don't want to get caught behind an 8-ball when all of a sudden we're looking at $68,000 over budget.
Yeah, understood. However, we're not approving a purchase here, we're approving going out to bid. So we still have a safety valve there. Okay, Chris, I thank you for that. Anything else for us?
Yeah. Do we want to just since I'm already talking about technology, approve those CDW invoices now, or do we want to?
Sure. Let's get you. You're on a roll.
Right. Well, I'm on a roll. Joe, can you pull those up? Pretty much one big packet. Unfortunately, the AV order came in lots of little pieces. So it's all the same order almost. All right. So we're looking at invoice AC8TY71. This is for 805043. This was the last of our networking. It was just some brackets to hang the wireless access points at McMahon. And it's for 8043.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Any questions? All in favor of the invoice for $80.43, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. Next.
All right, the next one's another CDW. This is for the AV package. It was its own PO. This is the $1,200 for the screen beam. This is for wireless screen, mirroring to the display.
So
Well-
moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions? All in favor of the CDWG invoice for $1,200, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. Next.
Actually, Joe, this one we can skip. That's actually one that I think I might have. That's coming out of the library budget. We can skip that one.
Okay,
Which one is that?
The bright sign.
$72.
$72.
Yeah, the flash memory card. Yep, it's 7232. That's library budget. We can move to the next one, Joe. It's the
I'm doing three things at once here. Give me.
oh, that's okay. This is another CDWG. These are for some microphones and wireless microphone adapters for $298.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike.
Second.
Second by Mr. Berman. Questions, comments? All in favor of the CDWG invoice for $298, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you.
Another CDWG. This is the speaker stand, microphone cables, microphone stands, $175.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike. Second by Mr. Berman. Questions, comments? All in favor, CDWG invoice in the amount of $175, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Okay, two more.
All right, CDWG. This is the one of the things we're excited about. Our Bose wireless PA system and wireless microphone transmitters for a total of $1,336.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Thank you. Questions or comments? All in favor of the CDWG invoice in the amount of $1,336, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes.
And the last one. This is a Logitech Mevo. It is a wireless camera. It is $330.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions or comments? All in favor of the CDWG invoice in the amount of $330, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes.
All right. And that's pretty much the last of there's one more little straggling piece from McMahon. It's some the lavalier type microphones that clip on. I'm waiting on those, but that's it.
I don't have that invoice.
Oh no, I mean I'm literally waiting on them to be delivered.
Oh, okay.
Yet to
That'll
come.
I'll close it all out.
My
Okay.
apologies.
All
No,
right.
that's okay.
All right, Chris. Questions for Chris?
All right.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. All right. Doug's been waiting patiently from Colliers. Doug, you're on.
All right, thank you. Okay, special testing. Tri-State continues to come out. We're doing testing of the concrete, for curbs, sidewalks, all that stuff. Mortar testing continues and storefront window systems. We're gonna have some testing of sealants and things like that. Reports are continued to be forwarded on to the special inspector, Michael Horton, and the building official as well. We have not received any invoices this month from Tri-State for commissioning, as Anthony mentioned. Van Zelm is continuing to come out and work with the vendors to get everything started up, resolve any issues, and work on the whole startup process. There is one invoice from Van Zelm that's in the packet that we can review. FF&E, we are still on schedule for, at this point, looks like we should be able to hopefully bring in the furniture and install in the time frame that we had planned. Anthony and Downs are working with the building official to allow that to happen, and hopefully if we have our data and all that from Crown Castle, it should become a non-issue. Myers is lined up for the moves in June. And then all the furniture is currently on order, and according to conversations and emails that I've had, we are on schedule for installation. And we have a walkthrough with the vendors in 2 weeks. That's pretty much it, so.
All right, questions for Doug? Mr. Berman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Doug,
Mhm.
has they started making a list of the items that are at the atrium that are not going to be coming over? So we
That
know
would
what
be
it
question.
is?
I know that they're working on that. I had a conversation with Elizabeth and
Okay,
Chris and them. I know they're starting to work on that stuff. I don't believe that list is complete by any stretch right now, but it is in process, I believe. Elizabeth could probably speak to that.
Yes, I guess I've not done a very good job of explaining the incredible list that we have of things that we need to address on a daily basis with the opening of McMahon Wittenberry Library, and making sure that that has been, we are still tackling things every single day with that opening and everything else that's going on. The next thing that we are putting our priority to is when Meyer does come. It's a very complex process to divvy up the collections and figure out exactly where books will go, whether it be McMahon Wittenberry Library or Prosser Library. So Bob, I hear you, but that is just not near the top of our list right now. And I ask for you to be sensitive to that as we do our best to prioritize what needs to be done in the here and now. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, you still had your hand up. Is that for this or?
Okay. All right, other questions for Doug? All right, Doug, thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thanks.
All right, so we have one remaining invoice at the bottom of my pile for Van Zelm.
You do. We have one remaining invoice. It's for Van Zelm for services through March 1 for $1360.80.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike,
Second.
second by Mr. Berman. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the Van Zelm Engineers invoice for services through March 1st in the amount of $1,360.80, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. And thank you for that. Other items from the committee? You have any hands up there? Elizabeth?
Yes, I just wanted to note that with all the current dates that we're working with, we are planning to start opening late on Thursdays in May in order to start addressing all of the things that we need to do for this 3-week move in partnership with Colliers and Meyer. Also, the current date set for the closing of the atrium to the public is June 6th, which is a Friday, where the move actually starts that Monday. So again, we are starting to make some concrete decisions based off of the dates that we have. And we will be communicating that appropriately to the public as well. During that time, McMahon Wittenberry Library will be our only location. And again, we'll be working with the public about that. And I know Glenn did share that the current plan is to shut McMahon Wittenberry Library in August in order to put up the 2 canopies. But I just wanted to note that we will only be shutting down McMahon when Prosser is open to the public. So the goal of continuity of service still remains and is still kind of guiding the process. And we'll continue to keep this group aware of all of that as well.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. There's a massive amount of coordination. We've got all the right people on it. So please, everybody, pick up the phone, keep the communications open, whatever you need to do. Because there's always a problem, right? So we'll keep our fingers crossed that everything works well. But like I said, I'm confident in the team to get it all done. Okay, anything else from committee members? All right, thank you, everybody. Our next meeting is 2 weeks, the 23rd. And then we are into May. How about that? All right, it's coming, it's coming. Public comments, members of the public, anybody with their hand up, Joe?
Have two and no.
Okay, we thank you for joining us on that. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike, second by Mr. Guess who? Mr. Berman. Thank you. And we are adjourned at 7:22. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.